Klaus, what happened last time?
Last time we had some minor adventures. I wasn't going to call. They're not really. They weren't misadventures. We met with you know merchant, sorry, a general store owner, and made our walked around this dusty old burg. Um, got ourselves some fishing line and harpoon and bait, which I gave away. Changed into nice clothes. Made an appointment, or went to go see someone in the government building. Ended up speaking to a minister of. I know he was the minister of fisheries, among many other things, um, which seems to be an important thing to be here. Um, and he gave us news and information, cleared up our standing with the local government in terms of being confused as being the crew of the High and Dry, and sent us out to complete the High and Dry's mission, which was to survey this volcano, or dormant volcano, and bring a report back to him. And in the meantime, we got to get the ship working again. So now we're out at the volcano, just got to the top of the caldera, looking down into it, and there's a lake in the midst of it, and an island in the lake on which is the High and Dry. And now we just gotta make our way down and across.
Okay, and Trellis, tonight you'll be playing the role of Jax, if that's okay, and you can assume that Shipley is with you all. So
Got it.
you all have just crested the top of the lip of the caldera, and I have that for you all. Let's see here. It is, according to this, 1730 local. By the time you have made it to
That sounds right.
And so it's going to start getting dark soon.
Okay. Now, sorry. Go ahead.
You can see that the sun is beginning to set, and so looking over the lip of and into the crater itself. First of all, you can see a beautiful scene. It's actually really beautiful, the sunset that you have here, and when you look around from the direction you came, you can tell on the opposite end of the crater, it's kind of obscures the view of what would otherwise be a gorgeous panorama of the ocean. And despite the almost Mars-like dusty, barren appearance of Walston in its wilderness, the ocean is actually a kind of azure blue color, mixture of colors. It's very beautiful. And then on the near side that you came in on the mountain, you look down and you can tell that there were places where it's actually pretty hairy. The places that you came up, the steep elevation changes that you made your way up, and if you took a tumble now, it could be pretty catastrophic. You can see hundreds of meters down below you from where you came at the foothills that you were brought up on, tiny trees of a forest down at the foothills, and then you can look out behind you and you see a peninsula, and on one side of the peninsula you can see an ocean, on the other side, and you can see these big lakes, including a lake that you drove next to on the way in. From where you are and where it's getting darker, you can only make out just the tiny sprinkling of lights of a couple of cities far off in the distance. And in the inside of the crater, you're correct. It's about 2 kilometers across, and the central 1 kilometer diameter of it, you have a forest, and then about 500 meters of water, and then an island just big enough to accommodate the delta shape of what is clearly an Imperial scout vessel.
500 meters. Last time
Water.
I thought you said 150.
Maybe that's how deep it is.
Oh my god. 500 meters. Okay, well, we have to start making our way down, so
So
we're all
I
still
know that it's
connected to each
steep and
other.
dangerous in front of us, or behind us. Is it steep and dangerous in front of us too, or is it like a gradual slope into the forest?
Yeah, great question. No, and there's some kind of barren space before this forest. It looks like some kind of rough, really tough vegetation is able to grow at this altitude, fed by that fresh water. And you also note. So first of all, no, it is not dangerous, and you could easily make your way down just by taking your time. You also notice that there are these little, as you get closer, little fissures, little holes, little caves that you could that are kind of like around the crater.
Uh, okay. You mean that we could walk into, not that we would fall into?
No, yeah, you see them clearly. You wouldn't just fall into them. Yeah,
Okay, so I mean, I propose that we move forward as far as we can. How long till the sun sets from here?
probably 2 hours.
How far away are we from the nearest cave mouth?
Only a few meters away,
Oh,
and you're probably, you know, half a kilometer away from the whatever these rough shrubs are. This forest. So 20 minutes. I don't know, 15-20 minute walk.
Yeah.
I think we want to be careful that there isn't some mama wolf or something hiding out in a den here.
You also might want to get down closer to where it's oxygenated before our vac suits run out.
Yeah, I think that you all, let's see, activated your vac suits right toward the end. Is that right? And then
That's correct.
so I don't remember unless somebody can remind me. So unless you, actually, I have it here. 1 hour of O2, 17:30 local, 1 hour of O2. So you have 1 hour left.
Wow. And for sure, there's like a layer of oxygen down at the bottom, the floor of the crater.
And I should also clarify for you, Trellis, because you were gone, because I made this mistake last time. This is approximately 20,000 feet pressure altitude if it were on Earth. If you were able to go down into it, maybe it is a little better. It's not like you're going to immediately start, you know, you're not going to just pass out. This is not space. It's not 30,000 or 40,000 feet pressure altitude. But you will start getting hypoxic within minutes, within the hour. You'll start getting hypoxic and suffering its effects if you don't have a supply of oxygen.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's proceed down towards the forest and straight towards our objective for the moment.
Okay. All right. You start heading towards the forest. It takes about 20 minutes to get there. I'm going to make the first check for the first hour that you're up here.
Would you?
All right. And you make it to these plants, and the way I kind of describe them to the other group is if you've ever been in the Southwest, in the high desert, I think these plants are really jagged, rugged, kind of tough shrub, and they have these buds, these big, thick fruits on it, and it kind of makes me think of a chipotle plant in the Southwest, except the buds are bigger and rounder, and they do have spikes on them, but you're able to slowly make your way in. It kind of slows you down, but if you've ever been near a chipotle plant, they are very spiky. But as long as you're careful, you're all right.
Now, this extends the whole distance between here and the water, or it becomes a forest?
It does. So there's this big open area you just crossed. You made it to this forest of shrubs that are a little bit above head level, and that continues onto the water for, maybe 100 meters or so.
Yeah, let's see what we can see.
You go to
Continue
the water.
on to the water. Yeah.
Okay, you go to the water. The water is murky, silty. It's suffused with whatever the stuff is here, and completely still. Sort of a muddy pond, like a mire.
Is there anything moving in it?
Yeah, you look around. Nothing's moving in the water.
I'm just gonna dip my. Does anybody have scientific equipment with them of any sort?
One of us had a data pad. I don't remember who had it.
I have a pocket computer. I don't know how much usefulness. This can link in with whatever it can link in with, but I don't know if it can take scientific readings. I'm just trying to see whether or not it's safe to taste it, or we can learn more about it.
Shipley does not have. Well, actually, I'm sorry. She does not have a scientific kit.
Just Jackson.
Oh, Jackson. You should be able to open it. Let's see.
Yeah,
inventory.
I've opened it, and
doesn't
Jackson.
look like he does.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
If there's a piece of brush, like dead wood from one of these plants, I throw it out into the water.
Okay. Yeah, it's not hard to find a chunk of one of this spiky brush. You find one, toss it out, and not only does it float, and you get the sense that this was almost like a driftwood, like it had already kind of died, and so it's not something that would have been really buoyant. It probably would eventually sink, or at least part of it. But you toss it out into this lake, and not only does it not sink, but it's almost as if it hits. How do I describe this? Well, almost like a mud. A mud puddle. It's almost like it's a puddle in terms of its consistency, and it kind of bobs and then hangs there on the surface, and then eventually comes to a stop.
Perfect. Let's get to work finding big pieces of these plants and strapping them together with this line.
You're gonna try to make a boat?
We just need to make a raft.
Okay. Yeah, you do have two heavy flight cases of equipment that you need on the other side.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's as buoyant as all that,
All right. No problem.
unless anyone has any other ideas, it seems like the quickest way forward.
We gave away the harpoon, right?
No, I gave away the bait. I think Jackson still has the harpoon.
Yeah. I think you have a harpoon.
I suggest to Jackson, since he has the harpoon, to start going forward and testing the depth.
Yeah, good idea.
Sure. I actually don't see a harpoon in my inventory, but I will go with what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I pull the harpoon out, and just standing at the edge of this lake, I start probing the edge of the lake, and bringing it further, just to see how quickly it slopes down.
Okay.
And without stepping into the lake, how far I don't know. My reach is probably 5 foot out or something, maybe a little more.
While you do this, is Shipley, Jason, and Klaus working on gathering stuff to be able to bundle it together to create a makeshift raft?
Yes.
Okay.
I stay with him because I was expecting him to go forward, and I wanted to be there to like pull him out of the mud if it started becoming like
Oh
quicksand.
yeah, yeah. If it's like quicksand, I
Mm.
gotcha. Well, just so you know,
Okay.
so as you look at the brush here, there are two kind of data points I want to offer. One is that it's clear to you that you could gather a bunch of stuff. That would be very possible to do. Uh, the process of actually crafting a raft and testing it and getting everything going, I'm going to say is going to take an hour. This is sort of standard passage of time right now would be 1 hour. That being
Well-
so, that means that you will, by the time you finish the raft, and have tested it and know that it works, and have overcome any complications with it. In other words, you will accomplish the task because you're going to make sure all the stuff works. So you get to the end of that, I'll make a check for altitude sickness because you will be out of
Okay.
air. So
So
this I would give that to Klaus, and then now you guys you're testing the water, and you've got Jason who's ready to pull you out in case like you're gonna mire, and so I'll tell you. So you kind of test it, and it's shallow at first, and then it suddenly drops off and is very deep, and it goes down to your arm.
okay. So we're not going to wade across. It's that's not going to work. But and here I turn to Dave, and I look at him and I pause for a minute, and I'm like, this is brackish, buoyant water. It's probably very salty, and we're probably not going to sink in it. Is there some way? Is there a thought that maybe we could just lay on our backs in our vac suits and somehow propel ourselves across?
Do the
To
backstroke.
the backstroke, yeah. Maybe put our equipment cases on our chests or something. I don't know. Is this even a possibility, or am I smoking something?
Well, my question would be, how do you test it? How do you try that out, or do you want to go for it and see if it works?
Go ahead.
Well, assuming that they're still gathering wood in the first few minutes of us poking around in the water, we might still have the fishing line available to us, and one of us could kind of make an attempt, and if it doesn't work, the other one of us could pull the sinking one out.
Okay.
I have a pretty high strength, so I should probably be the one on the shore.
Well, there's 300 feet of this high tension fishing line. I put a question mark after that because I thought I remembered you saying that. You haven't said anything different, and I've just been running with it.
Sure.
So I don't know. You guys probably don't need more. I mean, you want
I'm just going to test. I'm going to test the idea. So
to.
if you
Jackson, by the way, Jackson also had a rope. He just had an actual regular rope.
actual rope.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tie that rope to my waist. I could tie it to my waist. Dave, you could get a good grip on it, and I could just do a trust fall into the lake and push off.
Okay.
See if
So,
I can.
Jackson, are you gonna try that? Get yourself tied
I'm going to
off
try
and-
that.
Okay. You try that, and there's good news and bad news. So you push off and you fall back, and absolutely you float. And so if you've ever been to like the Dead Sea or to the Great Salt Lake in North America,
That's what I was thinking.
you basically can't sink. You flip your legs up, and especially with your already sealed off, but not buoyant, but sealed off suit, you almost act as a living boat. And yeah, you don't sink on your back, you just float. And you think you could probably put your mask on and just like paddle across, assuming that nothing is to interfere with you. The bad news is the flight cases, which would slowly sink. The good news about the flight cases are that they are rated for hard vacuum. So they should be able to survive in water or in soupy environments. Hypothetically, you should be able to just drag these if you wanted.
Well, we could grab a few sticks and make the boat for the cases.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If everybody's feeling brave, I like it. Let's go with it.
All right.
Well, this is what we came here for. We'll probably suffocate if we try to go back now, so we might as well
We
press
absolutely.
on.
Yes, we have to press on. The question is, we'll spend a smaller amount of time than making a smaller raft just for the cases.
All right. So, you had an hour of oxygen left. It took some time to get here and make it through the forest and do all of this.
So it's an hour either way.
but but not more than. So here,
Yeah.
you make the small boat and you start making it across. You swim. You get a little raft for your equipment. You put all your equipment on it, make it across, and here you are on an island. I'll describe what you see on the island, and then I will. As I describe it, your O2, you get an indicator, like it turns blue, indicating that you're now on ambient air. You no longer have pressurized O2. This is the case if you were to use your combo mask. It gives you quality and pure ambient O2, but it's not going to give you pressure oxygen or cylinderized oxygen unless you have the tank. So here you are running out of pressurized O2. You make it across. You're only a matter of a few meters away from the ship, and you can see that most of the hatches on the outside are closed, except for a main hatch, what do you call it? Passenger entry hatch, a manual step into it is open. So other than that, the hatches are closed. There's trash everywhere, trash all over the place. You can see that other things have been stripped off. Essentially anything that could be used or is valuable, but nothing that would cripple the ship, at least that you can tell from the outside. You see a little blue plastic object partially buried, and you can tell that the power has been drained from how it's dark on the inside of the one hatch that's open. The power batteries, the direct power batteries, are drained. You have some in your flight case, and you hear a growl.
Okay.
I pull out my revolver.
You do have your weapons.
Okay.
As do I.
All right, so you all pull out your weapons. Let's see here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see this dog, canine. You probably don't know what a dog is, but a canine. Let me find it. Starts kind of like wearily coming out, and then kind of backs up, growls, backs up, puts its head down, has its ears back, and yeah.
It's coming out of the ship?
Yeah, it came out of that entrance.
Anyone here good with animals?
Oh, there's the dog.
I shoot the ground near it.
Oh, are you sure you want to do that? I think maybe that's escalating it too quickly.
So we got one person that's kind of like, well, actually, what would the alternate plan be? Actually, would be the thing. So if you're
Yeah,
not gonna
what would
if
the
you're not
other
gonna
thing?
try to scare it off, what
I
else
mean,
would you do?
see what the situation is inside. Are we talking about an actual den that's got young pups in it? Let's listen. Do we hear the voices of any yipping and yapping behind this thing, or is it just by itself?
You don't hear any other growling noises. You can make a everybody, if you're trying to listen, the time will pass. I'm going to make another check for this. If you're going to try to listen, to say, hey, wait, let me see if there's like a family of them. But this will be to roll under your intelligence stat.
Under?
Under, yeah.
Oh, dang.
I made it.
Made it. Okay. You hear, and this draws your attention to something. Jason, you hear little chittering noises, but it's not inside the ship. Somewhere nearby.
Jesus.
You can't quite pick it out, but you hear a little like somewhere around nearby on the ground. And you notice from doing that, you look around, you hear that. Don't hear anything inside the ship, don't hear any other growling. That some of these rock formations that are fissures that look like cave structures, but vertical caves going down into the ground. There are a couple of them on this island.
We're running out of time.
Yeah.
So
I'm
we
gonna
need to either frighten this thing or kill it.
I'm gonna hold my hand out, just like not advance towards it, but see if it does anything.
All right, you squat and try to hold your hand
Yeah.
out. I'll make another check for it to see, and it warily comes up and it acts in a way that is clear to you that it must be domesticated.
That's what I thought. You said its ears were down, and I was like,
Yeah, and it comes up warily and it sniffs your hand, doesn't bite you, doesn't attack, and also has the guts to come up to 3 tall humans. 4.
yeah, this was their dog.
All right, but does it have a collar or anything?
It doesn't seem to.
Let's
And
just
Okay. Well, I ease around past it and look in the hatch.
Okay. You pass. I should note as you go to the hatch, there's that blue object, half of it, and you realize that the half that is stuck out of the ground is a bowl. It's a metal bowl, a colored metal bowl. And you get to the hatch, you look inside, and the first thing that strikes you at this point, your helmet is useless. So, but either way, you're breathing ambient air through it. Even if you're wearing the helmet or the combo mask, despite it filtering the quality of the air from toxins, you're struck by a horrible smell. You might say a combination of smells. One of these smells you recognize as a horrible smell, and it is body odor. And all of you have been travelers now for about 3.5 years. Yes, I adjusted the timeline. So 3.5 years you've been travelers, so you are experienced. And there's something you know about light craft, and that is that they have a problem with cramped quarters, and that usually a scout vessel or smaller or personal craft have to regularly change their filters at port. And if they don't, the whole place starts to smell like butt. And you can tell that the filters on this thing has not been changed, and it has a nearly permanent smelling, nasty body odor smell inside. That's one thing. The other thing is it smells like dog feces, and dog urine. And then when you peek inside, it is dark. You look at the panel for the door, and it's black, and it's obviously been left on and open, and the batteries are dead, and it is utterly trashed inside. It's an absolute mess in the place, and there's hatches open on the inside, and panels open, and wires hanging from the ceiling, and stuff just overturned and laying on the floor. Yeah.
Well, we need to. I'm gonna get up and, you know, I'm sure the dog will follow us in. But let's go. Let's all go in. We need to get to work like right now.
It
So
Yeah,
whines
let's.
and you think the dog's going to bite you. It does kind of bite you, but it doesn't hurt. And then it like backs away nervously, and then it comes up and it sniffs you, and you can see that this dog is also like essentially starved. Like you can see its
yeah.
bones and stuff. It hasn't eaten.
Well, it must have been eating something if it's been crapping all over the place.
Yeah, and for a month. Yeah.
But maybe just little things that are running around. Uh, but yeah. Okay, so we need to. I mean, quick inventory. It's scout ship's it's not a large vessel, but well, no. Maybe we just need to get to work doing the repairs.
Yeah, we should install the power first.
Yes.
That'll give us some systems. Maybe we can re-pressurize the vac suits from the life support.
Yeah, we need to get the generator on first.
Okay. So you mentioned that, Jason. So do you go to? They're in the flight cases. You do have direct power batteries. So do you install those in the avionics bay?
I'm not in charge, so I'm going to follow the lead of whoever's leading
Yeah,
today.
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, if we have those batteries, those are the first things that go in, and we close the hatches.
Okay, I sort of took that as a because you'd said that, so that's what I.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea, and I'm glad I'm glad it was said. Let's do it.
Okay. Sorry. Yes. Of course. But and then I
So,
wanted
yeah.
to confirm that Jason was doing that because some other things may happen.
Oh, down in
Depending
the old engine room.
Depending on who's where and stuff. So it just gives me an idea of who's going where.
Okay. Well, I think we should basically
But
stick together.
everybody goes on the ship. Is that right?
Yeah, we all have to work here.
Okay.
We all have jobs to do, but
I was actually thinking of trying to secure the perimeter.
that's
As
a good
much
idea
as
too.
as much as like we had heard a little chittering, some noises. I can't identify what that is, but it sounds like animal noises at the very least. And Ross, you said that they were coming from like little caves, maybe? Is that what you said?
Um, uh, Jason saw some caves when he was looking around and heard the chittering noises. I am going to put you all in here. I will also give you some information that I think your travelers would know, so that you have a few operations to work with as well. Okay. So first of all, you come in on the side here. This hatch is open, kind of a passenger, a kind of manual step ramp, slash ramp thing that lowers down, and you come in. So when you first come in, yeah, the power's off. You can see everything's trashed. You can let me know if you want to go somewhere and inspect anything, but we'll just pan you over there so you can look at anything. Some things that you know based on the flight cases. Okay, so you have these 2 flight cases, and none of you are dedicated starship mechanics. Like none of you are like specifically mechanics. So you have this kind of I don't know what to call it, although I've done this before. Usually you would do a pre-flight, and there are these things that you would do. In this case, you're going to do these extra things, and you have like this a manual, if you will, that has a set of tasks that the Scout Services thinks that you need to do. And you do have direct power batteries, and they would go in the avionics bay up in the front of the ship. Why is it not pinging? There we go.
I see that.
I see it pinging. It's just not
I'll have
very.
it kind of pan around too, so it does that, and then I'll pan back to y'all. So that's as soon as you do that, you all are correct. that as soon as you have a direct power battery, then you can access the auxiliary power through the fusion drive. And that auxiliary power, assuming the ship has fuel in it at all, it will bring the system, the ship to life. And hypothetically, you can open and close doors, access control panels, and control life support, and do other diagnostics and stuff like that.
All right. Well, if you order me to do that, then that's what I go do.
I think we should stick together while we assess the situation on the ship.
Okay,
So let's all go do that.
Okay, and
Now, I do want to stop and say, is it Jackson or dang?
you have Jackson, Shipley, and
Quickly. Which of you was going to be wanting to check out the perimeter?
Jackson. That's me.
Yeah. So let's do that then. If you want to do that, just
I mean,
if you want to do that, you can do that, and then the rest of us will go get the things online. I feel like getting stuff online is job one, or else we all start to go funny in the head.
yeah. I tell you what. If we're all inside the ship, we can just close the door of the ship, and no critter is going to be coming in through the door. So I'd rather stick with you guys, actually.
Yeah. I don't know if we can close it until we get the batteries installed.
Oh, I see.
Now, once you have the batteries installed and have auxiliary power, assuming it's not broken, you'll have oxygen generation. So your O2 problem,
Exactly.
And I want to mention that because you could go check the perimeter, but if you do that now, you'll make an altitude sickness check, which would be an endurance 8+ check.
Yeah. So let's delay that, and
if the life support's broken, you'll all make that check. So I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Job one, I think, is making our way to the avionics bay.
All right. Okay. So everybody goes together. So move over to the avionics bay, and on the way, you see a few of the other rooms here. So you see a hallway. All these doors have been just left open. And there's panels hanging out of the walls from the ceiling, wires on the floor, dog doo-doo. The whole place smells awful. It's dark. This is the bridge.
Not with the combo mask on. Filtering out the impurities.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that you're able to smell. You're able to tell that it smells bad in here. But yes, you're not subject to. Whoops,
I believe most of us got some kind of light source, like flashlights or carry lamps.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so you're able to navigate in the dark in the ship. Anyways, the bridge. I'm gonna say that even though it's a scout courier, I'm gonna offer some things so you can operate as a crew here. You have 2 major crew stations, a pilot station, navigator. I will also say that you have flight engineer type jump seats that are entirely optional where people can kind of sit as a crew. And then up here, I'm going to say that this office kind of overlooks and can act either as an office enclosed or open as like a captain's chair, so that everybody could operate as a crew if they wanted to. And anyways, you have to make it past the front panels where the pilot, navigator, the cockpit is, and you open it up, and this place is also a mess. And the smell is sort of ozone and also oil, like different. This is long past serviced. Needing to be serviced, but you're able to pull out the burned out direct power batteries and add in your own from the flight case. And if you come back to a control panel, which is under direct power, you can activate the auxiliary power of the ship, assuming it's not broken.
Who's handling that?
I will go over to the pilot's chair and try to do that.
Okay, let's see here. ship comes alive. And
Ooh. Bingo.
The air starts coming out of the vents, and cooling systems come online, control panels, doors are active, and you have all your different diagnostic and pre-flight tools, maintenance tools to know the status of the ship.
All right. Well, let's check what it can currently do.
Okay.
I shut the door first.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna.
I seal the ship.
Yeah, you get your air right. Okay.
Gonna ask you to do that. Yeah, that thank you.
Let's see here. Where is this at? Why am I holding it?
We're in avionics now, so we should be able to check on the sensors, status of the sensors.
Yeah, so I'll say that from the cockpit and any of the major control panels, you can access a maintenance diagnostic system. Just to, it's not where you would actually initiate repairs from, but you can kind of bring up information about diagnostics, or what's the word I'm looking for? Well, anyways, that's true. A diagnostic of each system. Synoptic is the word I'm looking for. A synoptic of each system. So it won't let you repair it, but it'll tell you about it. So bam, you go through systems, and it's clear to you that there are about 5 things that need to happen in order for this ship to fly reliably. One problem with the ship is the flight controls in the nav, which they're correct. You need to replace the operating system and in the computer itself, and you need to replace a bunch of like wiring and things that is corroded and been exposed to atmosphere. That's also true of shipboard electronics, because you can see that there are built-in tests and diagnostics that are failing across the ship intermittently. And what that's telling you is that shipboard electronics at different points have faults in things like lines and wires. So you'll need somebody. You'll also need to track all that down and replace all the wiring where it could be failing across the ship. That's the second task. And then there are 2 other systems that have those problems. These are all problems related to exposure, corrosion, and lack of maintenance and not being ran correctly. And the other 2 systems are the power system from the fusion drive, and then the drive system, the actual J drive and M drive. And then lastly, the other thing that you can tell is the environmental control and life support systems, and the living space systems. The synoptic of that is also giving some intermittent faults, and that's bad, because that tells you that the air you're breathing, the filters could be compromised, and that basically the place needs cleaned. Like the filters, but also like where it's just disgusting, it can actually affect the quality of air.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So those are things that you see from the synoptics.
All right.
Did
First
the dog
thing-
follow us into the ship?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm keeping the dog, in case anyone was wondering.
I figured that was what was happening.
Yeah.
I was going to go get his bowl, but I think we're just going to get him a new one.
Wait, let's say, because you go get his bowl. The bowl has a name on it.
Oh.
It says it's been chewed on. The bowl is ruined, because it's been half eaten. The bowl itself, but it has a label on it that says Kimberly.
Kimberly?
Kimberly.
That's not the dog's name anymore.
Crappy name.
We're going to name something else.
We'll think about it. Okay, so first thing actually is we need to have our suits in the oxygen environment long enough to refill their supply. I assume that's possible.
Yeah, and that you can assume
So-
that's good to go now.
Okay,
so that's good. Yeah.
so like, okay, and then I think job one is probably cleaning, right? Life support has to come first. Get that solid.
Do we
I'd be
want to
happy.
bring the ship down to the city where we'll have access to more stuff, or do we want to try and fix everything here?
Well, we have to. One of the things we had to fix was M drive. So I don't know if we can get the ship to the city without fixing it.
Yeah, and that's a good question. So these are the things I mentioned are the things that you're concerned it may not reliably fly. The boat may not actually be able to take to shallow water right now without these things. Flight controls, nav, shipboard, electronics, power drive, and being able to,
I assume we're gonna have to. I mean, now that we have air, we're good for a little while. Like, how long will these batteries last that we installed?
So the great news is that the direct power batteries were just enough power to access the auxiliary power from the fusion drive. So you're great now. You're operating, and I'll actually tell you what the ship fuel is because that will tell you how long. And by the way, here's the original artwork, and you can actually see. You should be able. Let me make sure you have access to this actually.
Yeah, the fuel scoops. Right?
I'm giving you all ownership access of the high and dry. So it has its own type of character sheet in this. And I'm going to get rid of the previous crew. I apologize for that. Nope, that's not what I want. Let me get rid of that. Delete. Nope, I don't want that.
Is there a like a kitchen on the ship?
I'm sorry, hold on just a second. Okay,
A
let me
revelation
make sure that this works.
transcends
Okay,
your view
so
very strong.
certainly let's not, the VTT is not required for play in any sense. However, if you're curious, a bunch of the different systems and info is available in the character sheet for the high and dry, which should show up now in the VTT. And one of the things is that it's indicating 32 of max 40 tons of fuel. So it still has fuel.
Why did they leave it?
So on auxiliary, well, it won't fly, for one thing.
Yeah.
They didn't have the updated operating
Oh,
systems and stuff
okay.
and battery.
Got it.
But anyways, on hydrogen from your fusion drive, you could live on auxiliary power probably for months. I mean, that's my guess. A very long time.
Yeah, because most of that. Yeah, exactly. Most of that's for travel. It's 2 tons of fuel that's kept aside for 4 weeks of operation, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you could go for a long time. So you're good. You are correct in that. I'm sorry, Jason. What were you saying?
Go poke around in the kitchen if I could find it.
Yes. What is your intention? Just to kind of see what's back here, like now.
Grab a plate and find some dog food.
Do you all want to move together? Some, just to grab some dog food, right? Like this is just here. Let's just get this dog some food. But,
Sure. Yeah, we'll move together.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'll move you all, and you'd be familiar. This would be back in the stateroom area. Back.
The only place I can see that it would fit would be in the workshop.
There we go.
But
So you have like a crew area here, and this place has been ransacked. There is nothing of use here. Everything has been ripped out of cupboards and walls, and you can tell they ripped out like fuses and emergency equipment and PPE. It looks like they were trying to scavenge it for anything valuable.
well, and it's not a big ship, so it wouldn't have taken them, and it was their ship, so they would have taken whatever they knew they had. My guess is, you're right. We got to get I do think we should address the drive itself before we try to fly, but we should get the M drive up and running like pronto, and then yeah, fly it back to the spaceport. I guess we need to get can't just let this dog die out here. I guess we can go search for a little creature to shoot, but
Yeah, I'll give you kind of some more data points here and this is all based on the thing that you got from the scout services. So this kind of repair document, okay? These 5 systems are, in order to safely operate the vessel, you would need to repair them. However, you think that each of these systems would take a number of man hours each. Like, assuming just one person worked on it, then each of these things would take a number of hours. You can attempt to rush it. And they're like, we don't need to do that part. And you could, if you rush it, I'll say that you can get one of these systems done in 6 minutes.
I don't think that a ship on its last legs should be rushed.
Let's do the full man-hour version of the M drive repair.
Money's not a small factor.
But I think we should sweep the ship just once to make sure there's nothing on here.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right. I'll just point a couple of things out here because this is sort of your ship for a while, so it's worth noting. You've already been in the sensors and avionics bay, and you've already checked that. Actually, let me go back to this one over here because it'll kind of pan around. And then we already talked about the bridge, and you've already been there. Another thing is the bathroom. You go and check the bathroom. It is disgusting, and like a porta potty that is overflowing and hasn't been serviced in forever. You doubt, as it stands, that you could even use the bathroom and not get sick with something. You came in through this side passage here. You check the staterooms. They've been overturned and everything useful has been ripped out of them. And while you do this, you're checking, like you said. So you've already checked here for dog food. You looked through this area. This kind of crew area has already been, everything's been ripped out. This is actually an empty room. Whatever was here has been ripped out of this place. It's possible that this could be used as cargo. This can hold 2 tons of cargo. The ship's locker has no weapons and nothing of value in it, and everything's been taken off. And they didn't, because you all are former military people, they did not adhere to physical security protocols for taking weapons out. And all sorts of sensitive information from is just left here as well, because that's not valuable, I guess, but at least not to them. And then you go into this area here, and there's kind of this big docking kind of clamp area where you could hold something. This is where you'd hold the air raft, and the air raft was taken out. And then you got the drive and power plant sections here in the back. And you kind of check around these areas, and everybody could make an intelligence, roll under your intelligence attribute. See if you notice something.
Well under.
All right. Okay. You hear that squeaky noise again. And this time you look in one of an area where maybe some emergency equipment would be held back here in the engineering section. And you see a bunch of those little guinea pig things that are up there living in parts of the ship. And you can see they've built a nest in here.
Let's take him and
some
feed him to the dog. Yeah.
Oh, you take him and yeah. Oh man, the dog loves it, and he now has a taste for these things, and it kind of makes him wild, and he starts going around the ship and sniffing around looking for them.
Oh, great. Now let's look. I mean, do we?
I was wrong.
Not
This is
to
the
get-
cargo hold, obviously.
Not to get too gross, but is there any evidence of what the dog has been eating?
He's clearly tried to eat these things, but they have mostly prevailed against him until his heroes have come along.
Okay.
You have 3 major fuel baffles. You can't go into the baffles because they're live. They have live hydrogen in them, but you're able to use a non-technical system, a non-inspection degree of system, to once again access the diagnostic tools to look and see that the baffles look okay. This is another time where everybody could make a engineering check, and everybody has engineering, so I'll just say it's a flat 8 since you have engineering. But this is something to see if you notice something just off, just from looking at. Yeah, and you're able to confirm, and it's a good idea to actually check that the fuel in the baffles actually, you can verify it actually matches up with the synoptic for the fuel that you have. So you actually have tonnage of fuel on board, and it looks like everybody but Jackson passed. So this is Jason and Klaus.
It's having me show up as Jackson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so Klaus and Jason passed, right? You guys might have to just tell me. I don't know why
Okay.
it does that. It looks like, let's see, Klaus. Yeah, I don't know why, because it doesn't have you logged in as that, but I'm not going to worry about it. Anyways, so you look at the diagnostic for the actual fuel cells, the baffles between that and the bulkhead of the ship, where it separates the hydrogen from the rest of the ship to keep it safe. And you notice something. There is a fault in the fuel system. You're able to identify it by looking at this diagnostic where you would presumably work on the drive. Not only does the drive system actually need routine maintenance and an inspection and some different stuff installed, and you need to do different checks like I'd mentioned before, but you identify that the fuel processors have a fault. So there's kind of 2 problems with the fuel processors. One is that if you were to take on unrefined fuel, you doubt that you would be able to use it. That the ship would be able to use its systems to crack it and separate it out to use the hydrogen. The second problem is that it looks like there's a fault leading into the J drive, and you wouldn't be able to make a jump.
Well, that's important information.
You think that this is something that you wouldn't be able to just do out here like in a caldera.
Yeah.
You need to get back to a starport, have some access to some tools, or actually pay somebody, or it would take you a long time to try to make sure you don't screw that up, because when you start dorking around with live fuel, if you get it wrong, it can be very dangerous.
Ryan, really hard.
We're on a planet with a starport. I see no reason why we shouldn't put in, and once we get the M drive solid, at least head over there. I don't know if anyone here is particularly qualified with
I want you to look.
Especially qualified to do that, especially when we're not in a
Definitely
dock.
not me.
Yeah, not me either.
Okay. So Klaus, what do you all do?
So I guess, like I said, life support. Like, let's all work on cleaning this place up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say that reduces the time in half, and only one person needs to pass the check. So this is the cleanup is an endurance 6+ check. 2d6 to get 6+ on endurance. If you have a high endurance, let me know and I'll lower that.
Oh, okay. Well, I made it. I also have a high endurance.
I whiffed utterly.
All right.
Yep.
Let's see here. I am going to reduce that to 1d hours, and also an hour has passed. And this is really fortuitous. It only takes you an hour to do that, so
Dynamo.
Nice.
Yippee.
1830, 1930, 2030, 20. It is now 21:30 local time, and it is dark outside. All right. You're able to clean.
Okay.
This goes really well, and you all work really hard and fast, and get your vac suits off, and you're all sweaty, and you pull out all this stuff. You can't believe these people live like animals. I mean, they are crazy. You can't even believe that people like this could operate a starship, like the way they lived in this place. But from the flight suits, you're able to basically completely replace all of the major filters, and then kind of go through and scour the place with cleaning stuff, and it works really well. And other than the body odor smell, everything is really nice now. It has that kind of industrial military smell. It reminds me of Simple Green.
Simple Green. I was just
Simple Green.
Simple Green, and well, there was an orange one too, which was great. The motor
I'm
pool.
not getting cancer as we speak.
The motor pool used to keep the orange stuff around a lot. Anyways, it was like grainy. Anyway,
Because you
yeah.
could get oil off with it.
Right. All right. So M drive next, or has anyone? We have to take sensor readings of this. Actually, you know what? One of us needs to maybe go take care of the sensor readings. Is anyone good with electronics and stuff like that? We need to get that show on the road, actually. We won't be completing the mission for the administration here if otherwise.
My mental stats are not particularly good, so I just have the base.
Okay. Does anyone have electronics, like training of any sort? If not, it's going to have to be me with Jack of all trades.
Oh, nice.
Do you have more than the 0 we started with?
I had to start with electronics.
Yeah, I don't have electronics. I've only got the engineering that I think we started with.
Well, I'll offer a few things here as options. This can be done with mechanical or pilot. I will say.
Well, I'm good. Well,
Piloting I can do. Yeah.
Yeah, if piloting is Dex, then I can do that.
Everybody I know has Pilot 1. I don't know if anybody has Pilot 2. And everybody has No, I'm sorry. No, not everybody has mechanical. But anyways, and then lastly, another option to try to do the survey readings, the Jack of all trades would be an option. And actually, I'll just keep it the same. If you do Jack of all trades with the pilot skill, I'll reduce it.
Okay. Okay, I'll take care of the sensors, and if y'all could get to work on the M drive stuff, I don't know how many man hours that's going to be, but are M drive and J drive considered the same kind of thing in this edition, or are they separate systems?
I wouldn't call them the same, but they are. Yes, actually. So they're part of the same broad system here, the drive systems. So yeah, they would be fixed and looked at together. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's kind of two parts of the same system.
All right, so then I can just say y'all get to work on the drive, and I'll get to work on the sensors.
Sounds good, boss.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's see here. You guys go over to. Let's see here. Oh, and what's Shipley doing actually?
I assume helping them with the drive.
Okay.
He has good stats and certain stuff.
Yeah. There's plenty to do back there. It's a big old room.
Shipley.
She has a. Oh, well,
Sorry.
she has a 9 in intelligence.
She does not have any particular skill that you guys don't have. She just has some. She's actually a lot of weapon skills.
But everyone has engineering, right? So.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. You guys go back here to the drive systems, and you go to the pilot station to initiate a survey. And let me start with the survey, because that may be that could move faster. Now, you have some instructions where you can kind of do it slowly, so you're certain you can do this, but you might be able to look at it and finish it if you notice something, and you're able to kind of smoothly identify and complete something. So the first thing would be a pilot check at 7+.
I have piloting 1.
Drats.
I don't
Okay.
think that did it.
Okay, so you're still able to do it, but the survey takes 4 hours to complete. You do a full survey of the volcano, and let's do some math here. 2, 3, 4. So this would be complete. And by the way, you all also are starting to get very tired. You would have completed this by 0030 local time.
Okay. I suggest we take it in. How many of us are there? 4 or 5?
There
2,
are
3, 4, 5. Yeah. No, 4. There's 4 because Trellis is back at.
Marcello, yeah, he's back
Yeah,
at the town.
Marcello. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I suggest we take 2-hour watches each, and each get 6 hours, and then get back to work.
Okay.
Or well, actually, so it's 4 hours. How long does it take them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Meanwhile, you guys are working on the drive system, and I will reduce this time in half. There's multiple people working on it, and only one person needs to pass, and this is an engineering 8+ check. So 8+ on a 2d6. And Shipley passes, no problem.
Nice.
So I'm going to reduce this to... I'm basically going to just cut this result in half because it's d6 plus 2. So 2 plus 1 is 3 hours. So you would complete this by 23:30 local time.
It was still
Great.
close. And what if that violent
Then in that case, maybe they can. What were the other systems that needed? I got wiring had to be replaced and stuff.
Electronic systems, wiring. So anyways, actually there are... To have the ship be reliable, there are 3 more systems: the power systems, electronics, and flight controls.
Okay.
Almost 40 years.
Well,
I'll look into the flight controls.
Okay.
Yep. Got an hour left before that their timeline matches up to mine, so maybe he can luck out and get a bunch done in an hour.
Do you all want to go to flight controls while he's doing the survey? I'll go to the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh darn it. So, trying to do the survey while they're like pulling out different wires and trying to figure out which ones go where, and trying to install new paneling and all kinds of stuff. This is also an engineer 8+, so 2d6 to do 8+. Shipley passes.
Yay, Shipley.
You're able to do this in half the time.
Ooh, I got a 12.
Nice. Let's see here. So I'm going to just round down since everybody did really well. This takes 3 hours. So it takes a little longer than expected. I mean, it's not like you went really fast, but it went better than it could have. So 1, 2, 3. So you complete this task at 0230. There are 2 systems left. This is it. Okay. And you said you want to sleep for how long?
I'll sleep for 6. You all wake me up. It's 2:30 when you finish. and you know, one of you stay awake and the rest sack out. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I'll
Yeah,
take the
like-
first watch.
Okay, so maybe have one person sacrifice sleep through the night, and then hey, just go to sleep, and then everybody else can work. Is that what you're saying?
I was thinking we each take a 2-hour watch,
A 2-hour watch. Okay.
and then each get 6 hours.
Okay.
Or is, you know, I mean, that should have us, you know, we're all whatever. I don't know, how tired are we? Is that going to leave us exhausted if we
No,
don't get
that-
8? Or
Yeah, that actually, I think it's 6. This is absurd, but I think I read this in Belt Strike that it's actually 6 hours. It's something like if you go on less than 6 hours, you start taking damage to endurance, and they have
Okay.
6-hour watches, which would make me very grumpy if I only got 6 hours. But yeah, you can even squeeze it
For
down
now.
to 6, and you won't have a penalty. Off the top of my
okay,
head.
so for now, yeah, because that to my mind that was like enough to still be working quickly.
All right, that brings us to 0830 local time the next day. And let's see here, 6.
And I think I will have had the last watch because I took the first nap. Now, is there any work I can be doing while I'm up for those last 2 hours?
Yeah, interesting thought. Yeah, and let me make some more. Oh, while you're on watch, you find that there are a bunch more of these little things. The order of the watch. If I just go down the list, I would have like this. It would go Shipley, Jason, Klaus, Jackson. I don't know if that matters, but
Let's switch up Jackson with myself
okay.
and have me on the last watch.
So Jason, on your watch, you find a bunch more of these things fall out of some of the vents, and they just scurry across the floor.
All right. I try to whack them with something.
Try to whack them? Yeah, make a dexterity check. 2d6 roll under dexterity.
I make it. I have a 10.
All right. Yeah, you catch up to him and you beat him to death with a boot, and now you got more dog
We,
food.
we all have our daggers.
Yeah, you got more dog food now, and your watch passes. And
I don't actually have a dagger. I have a sword.
Oh, okay, all right.
you can pull out his gun. I mean, there's that. I guess that's
No, don't shoot holes in the hull, please.
Yeah, no, that would be bad. I do make sure that the doors are locked when I'm awake, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, your watch passes. There's no other problems. Klaus, I'm sorry, Jackson. It's your watch, and the same thing happens to you. You find a bunch of these little things scurrying across the floor. I don't know if I mentioned that they. I probably already did, but here is what they look like.
Good grief! I can't kill that.
It's easy.
I leave the ones
Just
that
don't
I see
look
in
at it.
peace.
You leave them in peace.
I leave them in peace. It's all
Alright.
good.
They're probably chewing on the wires.
Leave them in peace. Klaus, it's your watch, and let me.
Yeah.
I think I already checked. I have a couple more checks like this. All right, and then this was from earlier. Something happens, but you all don't know what it is. It happens somewhere else. All right, and nothing happens on your watch, Klaus. But I have you being on the last watch of the night. It's 0830, and then you hear this because the systems were left on. Oh, it's not working on my end. Why? Understand. Oh, there we go. Maybe.
Okay. Do I
boy.
identify it?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's not working on my end. I'm sorry if it blares your all's ears off because I can't even tell.
Can hear it.
We hear it.
Here.
Yeah, I can't for some reason. I don't know. Let me reload it. This may boot you all out and bring you back in.
Some kind of klaxon.
Yeah, it's just this is a standard, and I do apologize if this annoys, but this is just a standard ship's caution alarm. This means that something's going on. I actually would have preferred it be a little more muted, like a caution alarm, like deet, 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 just an indication, a caution that something's wrong. But anyways, Klaus, when you go and you check the captain's seat would have this, or the pilot's seat, and you look and you clear the caution, you look at it, it tells you that the something has happened to the drive system, and it's back down again. There's something wrong with it.
107.
Okay, I discovered that during my watch.
At the end of it, yeah.
Well, in that case, I'll roust everybody and have them come with me on back to the drive section. Something's wrong.
All right, so you guys are going to head back to the drive section. I forgot to mention, you finished your survey. You completed it. Let's see. Your readings indicate that there shouldn't be any threat for months, but that it is an active volcano. And that for several months it should be okay. And what do you remember what you rolled on? Well, you didn't pass the check. Let's see here.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Go back to the drive section. In the morning, fitful night's sleep in this stinky place. Well, I suppose it's better than being on the mountainside and gasping for air, though.
Much better.
And so you go back there, and it doesn't take you long. You open the diagnostic panel, the control, the page, the local kind of control, and then you open some paneling. It doesn't take you long to discover that a bunch of wires have been chewed through, and they have to be replaced.
Yep.
God damn it!
Yep.
I'm gonna feel like a real heel if like those
It's them.
those little mice that I let live
Can I
chewed up the wires.
make
God
a
damn it.
recommendation, boss?
Absolutely. By all means.
Let's either stick the dog in a vac suit that's in a locker if there is one, or step outside and just shut the life support off for 20 minutes.
Fascinating. Yeah, just like seal the ship and then shut down the life
Well,
support and all the.
We could also we would have to evacuate. We'd have to like set the system to evacuate all the air first, like before we do. Otherwise, it'd just be breathing stale air. We don't know how they can survive in a thin environment. We already know that.
Right.
And
So, and plus, also, but yeah, it'll also show us if there's ways that they're getting in the ship that aren't the door.
Fascinating, yeah. It's also
So let's do it. Great idea.
it's a thing you can do with boats, right? Is a thing you put on it to see if there's a bust in it or whatever, right? Or yeah. So like yeah. So you leave the ship and you do that, and this takes time. So this takes.
I stay in the ship in my vac suit to run all the systems that do this.
Right. Yeah, you can do that. This will take time. This takes 4 hours. 2, 10, 12:30 local the next day. Okay. All right. So let's see here. So and then you do that. You seal the ship like it's in vacuum. You put your vac suit on, and there you are. You're just. It's as if you're in vacuum. You're breathing, and you kill all the air in the ship. What is happening to my computer? And I mean, you don't know, right? So you just wait for a while and wonder if there are all these little.
I mean, do we see anything
the
scurrying?
voice of 1,000 little critters just gasping their last gasp of air.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Thousands, you say?
Who
Well,
knows? Who knows?
Who knows? Well, we'll know soon when we'll have the dog will have to scent them out if they're all just dead in the crawl spaces.
Yeah, this place is gonna
Speaking of
smell
the air,
forever.
speaking of the air system, goodness gracious.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
you know, after this time, part of all this is, you know, you repressurize the ship, and then you open it back up to ambient air, and then you bring everybody back on, etc., etc. So, it takes 4 hours. But if any, this part is true. If the ship is sealed, which the systems indicate that, so it has all these pressure sensors to indicate if it's sealing correctly, and it's indicating fine, that it should have sealed correctly. And if that's the case, anything on here should be dead if it depends on oxygen, or air, or anything like that. So,
Okay, great idea.
that was a good idea.
Yeah, brilliant idea, Jason.
Have you played FTL?
Played a
FTL?
little
What's that?
Barotrauma.
Yeah.
FTL is yeah. Go ahead.
It's like a game like this where it has a top-down thing of a ship, and you get in Star Trek situations, and people board the ship, and you'll have fires break out, and you have to like close doors and shut off air and suffocate enemies, and you know, all that kind of stuff like that. So, anyways,
Wow.
okay. So you get back on the ship. What do you do next?
Which two systems do we have left?
Well, now we gotta.
Well, we have 3 now again.
Well, actually, really, it's the same because it's the wiring. So the wiring needs to be replaced, and now including this new patch in the drive system. The drive system should still be fine, except for that wiring fault.
Yeah, I think I have that you have 3 systems now. You've got the drive system, which was fixed, and now the system's indicating there's a fault. The power system for the fusion drive, and the shipboard electronics, that there are faults throughout the ship.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing a lot of those faults in the electronics are going to be these wiring. But anyway, so yeah. Next will be the electronics.
Very well.
There's no point in doing the other stuff if we don't know if power's flowing correctly.
Okay. Everybody can make a throw an 8 on 2d6 for engineering. Fail. What'd you guys get?
Hold on. Hold on. Yeah.
Passes. All right. Yeah. So you're able to, and you pull out panels where there are different lines. Most of the lines are electrical lines, and a bunch of dead little critters just fall out. Like from some of them had been toasted when you turn the systems on, so you like kind of shut it down in different places. And I'm sorry that I didn't mean to this become like a guinea pig torture simulator. This is just what's happening.
They're all mercifully dead now. It's all over.
What's happening? This didn't happen with the other group. Yeah, I blame you all right.
Referee sits back shut. No. It was supposed to be cute.
Right. They stop being cute when they start becoming life-threatening problems, right?
Yeah.
More food for the dog.
That's true too. All right, I'll cut this.
Yeah, they went.
That
That was an early and easy sacrifice.
All right. Fascinating. Okay, let's see, and that takes 3 hours, so that's 15:30 local time. So weird. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. And let's see, you have 2 more systems.
Yeah. Fusion power. Let's do that
DNA's, the fingerprints.
next. What were the other 2?
Where is it?
The drive and the power are the last.
Oh,
2.
well, okay. Well, let's just clear up the drive. It should just be that one panel that the things messed with, but let's check it one more time.
Okay. Everybody's going to do that together.
Might as well.
Okay. Have to meet an
Wow.
8. Shipley fails.
Goodness gracious.
Fails. And fails. Crap. Okay.
Oy, oy, oy.
So let's talk about what happens when it fails.
Wait, don't I get a roll?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, you do get a roll.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
roll.
I thought you
Save us.
did. Yeah.
What am I rolling?
2d6
Just-
to get 8 on an engineering check.
Oh, some 8? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I have engineering 1, so it comes up to an 8.
Yeah, no, it's
Correct.
I determined the target number, so it's a 2d6 to roll 8 on engineering 1. This is based on Cepheus Deluxe, or the open source OGL 2d6 sci-fi system, which is not what we're using. Okay, so when you fail one of these checks, one option is to rush it, which you'll complete it without another check in 6 minutes, but it'll be rushed. The other option is to attempt it again.
I say attempt it again. I don't want to fuck with the drive.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to rush.
All right, and I think let's see, there's 2 systems left here, and this will be half the time on the drive system, which I'll just round that down to 1. It's 2 hours. Okay, so everybody can roll 2d6 again to get the drive working.
Goodness.
Oh no. Oh, good. Jason, you got, 6 2 is 8. You made it. Woof. All right, and let me see how long that takes. Again, I'll round down. 3. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. Okay. Okay, so you get the drive system working, Jason. But while you're doing that, you get another caution alert. This time, the caution alert, I wish I had more, and maybe I'll put them in. But it has this one is probably more accurate now. And this indicates a warning, like something really bad is happening from the pilot station.
I'll race up there.
Oh, I'm wrong, actually. No, I'm not. 10 hour. Yeah, okay. The readings from the survey system, I'm going to say that like you kind of left it on, and it's probably just checking some minor things. It'll update it, and so it had said it would take several months, but suddenly you experience the whole ship just goes like moves and shifts, and like everything shakes, and the whole ground moves underneath you. And when you get to the pilot station, the readings from the sensors are fluctuating like crazy.
Time to take off.
You don't currently have an
volcano?
operative power system.
Oh. Well, we're gonna have to rush it.
Yeah, gotta rush it.
You guys fix the drive, right? And then no, I'm sorry. Or is it Jason was just finishing the last one? I'm sorry, I can't.
Jason fixed the drive.
The drive system, but not the power system.
We
what
fixed the electronics. The fusion power system is last.
Okay, so you're gonna rush the power system repairs in 6 minutes. Okay.
Is that what's indicated? I mean, is that the sensor has revised that it's now down to what? Like immediate trouble?
You don't know. Just because the readings are fluctuating like crazy. It's showing like it's happening now. It's going to happen in 10 days.
Okay.
It's happening like it's just changing back and forth.
Okay. Well, yeah, we gotta do it.
Okay. Who's going to do it?
On Twitter.
Everyone but one pilot.
Okay, who's going to be
I
the
will
pilot?
pilot because I'm not good at anything else.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Jason, I'll put you in the pilot chair here, and I'll put everybody else in the drive room. And I'll even say, since everybody's trying to work on it really fast, that you can get it down to 3 minutes. So in 3 minutes, you rush it, patch it up, hope for the best, and close the panel. And you're like, you know, and you start making it back to the other end of the ship. This all takes about 4 minutes.
I'm going to tell him to take off as soon as we're done.
You would usually do, as well, a maintenance test flight and a series of test checks that usually take about a series of hours. And I assume you're not going to do that either.
No.
All right.
I mean, we can set her down in the planes, you know, a half a minute's flight away. But
Yeah. So a couple of things happen. The first thing is that you get an updated reading so you're starting to take off, and Jason, for the first time in a long time, you guys are traveling again on a ship. So it starts to take flight. And power, you know, you can feel it, like the ship kind of like coming alive underneath you. Let's cancel that warning alarm. And you can hear the roar of the fusion drive coming to life, which is what you had patched. And you're like, oh, and you apply all the power from the fusion drive, and you dump all the hydrogen into it, and it starts spooling up. And then the gravity technology of the ship allows you to start lifting up. You start bringing it up vertically, and you see there's two things. First is a lava plume shoots up nearby from one of those little holes, and you see just a lava just shoot out of it. And the second thing is that it updates the reading, and it says like immediate, like this is an immediate emergency, like at any moment it's going to start to the volcano is going to like blow, like at any moment.
Someone get on the radio and warn the city.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'll get on that.
You start. So here you are, Jason. You're starting to lift off, and you don't have like a list of frequencies, which is interesting, right? Like but let's just say that you start looking for a return on a frequency. The ones you find are all really primitive. They're like,
We should be able to contact the starport.
you could. Do you want to try to do that?
Sisters also looked out for
I mean, is this how far? It took us a couple of hours. How long of a drive was it?
You weren't there at the session when they came into the starport, were you?
I was not. No.
You guys could tell him about the starport if you want. But,
Well, what's to know?
Wasn't it really basic or something? Can't remember.
you ready to give the starport a call?
me.
I
You have to now, don't you? It's too late. All right, here we go.
let's just do it.
Yeah, now you are correct in that the starport operates on a off the top of my head, I don't even know, what would you call it? A non-line of sight, like something beyond just a radio, you know. So it's something direct, instant, and very clear communication. And what do you say? You try to like reach them.
One second.
Several minutes pass.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying goodnight to my wife.
That's okay.
I'm gonna just say this volcano is about to blow.
You just like transmit that. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll put you over here in the navigator seat so you can like operate comms and stuff. And you don't get a response initially. And finally, it says, Incoming traffic. This is Walston Starport. Say again.
Yeah. Understood. Here's the deal. Can you receive? Can we I don't want to get too bogged down, but can we transmit a data package?
Yeah, you could to the starport.
Yeah. So, hey, put this reading in your computer, and I just start transmitting the sensor data complete with geolocation of our position.
I'm sorry, this isn't in our procedures. Is this?
No, I understand.
Has this been cleared with the world government? I don't know if this.
Okay,
is...
can you please provide us with the contact information for the world government?
Oh, meet me on another frequency, and then he comes over on another frequency. So,
yeah.
Give me a moment, and then he leaves. Like the one person I met.
How's the volcano doing?
Yeah. And so meanwhile, you're lifting up, and the caldera is now filled with lava, like inside of it. And so you're flying though, and you get an update to your sensors as well. So this is several minutes have passed, and the update to the sensors indicate that it now there's good news and bad news to the volcano. The good news is that it has updated it and you have some time. The bad news is that the plumes there's a plug. There's some kind of large obstruction. Something is given loose inside the volcano and it's plugged those lava tubes, and that will result in an explosion. Like part of the volcano, a face of the volcano, it's going to be like Mount St. Helens. Like it's just going to take off a face and do this big catastrophic explosion. The readings indicate this will occur in less than an hour. It's not more precise than that.
Which face? Is it the one that's facing the town?
That it is not sure about yet, but you could try to run the sensors and see if you could find out.
Well, since I'm waiting...
You're on hold.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I might as well. I got nothing better to do. Listen to the elevator music and run the sensors again.
What do you tell everybody else? I mean, what are you telling Jason and Jackson?
Well, I say, have a look for yourself. The sucker's about to blow. Trying to get in contact with... I assume they've been listening to me talk.
Shipley straps herself into a jump seat. She's like, okay. And she straps herself in, puts her vac suit on.
Do we have any weaponry?
On the ship, you do not. You have a hard point, but it does not have a weapon on it.
Yeah, that was my thought as well, but then I didn't see anything. But maybe something at the starport does. In any case, yeah, I run the sensors while I wait for that dude.
All of a sudden, you get another warning.
Oh.
There's a fault in the power systems.
Oh, surprise! Are we far enough away, at least, to set this thing down without being? We don't know, do we?
We'll close off that warning, and I'll tell you. So this is something, Jason, you would notice. The fault that comes up indicates that there is a loss of power and a disparity in the power level. So like you have this delta-shaped ship, right? And it's going to have lines of power that run out of from the power system from the back in the engineering section, right? Well, one side of the ship has more power than the other. And so like the gravity's wonky and the ship is like not flying quite right and the power's fluctuating between the two sides. And you have a loss of power. So the mechanical effects is if there's anything related to a change in power, you'll have a -2 DM to the next check for it to use the system from power. That would include any kind of like hard maneuver or change to a system or rerouting power, etc.
I start heading towards the starport.
What do you all think?
Gently.
Fly casual, just like
well, yeah, I mean, it's an M drive starship, so presumably we could get there pretty quick if we needed to. But how? It's fine. We have to go there eventually anyway. But try to keep us above flat ground if you can.
Okay, yeah. I get what you're saying. You're hoping that if you have to fall out of the sky, you can commit. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. That's the good thing to be telling Jason, probably. Okay, Jason, so you start heading towards the starport. As soon as you start heading towards the starpoint, several minutes have passed. You hear a new warning come up from this, and this hits the pilot station. And you hear a voice. It goes, missiles, missiles, missiles.
Jesus.
When you look outside, you can see that there are now rocks being tossed up into the air and smoke is pouring out of the mountain.
Oh. Fly faster.
Missiles from where? How's my sensor check doing, by the way?
Yeah. So
Can I roll?
Yeah, make a 2d6, and this is to do 7 or 5. You will get the sensor check complete, but it's going to take a little while. But obviously,
That's
assume you're
useful.
going to try to rush it and get what you need.
Well,
specifically. It's going to
I mean,
take
what
you
I-
about 20 minutes to get it updated.
Gosh. All right. Well, whatever. Let's work. Missiles.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
This was from the volcano.
Sorry. No. Where are the missiles coming from?
Right.
It's the rocks from the volcano.
The rocks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you see these spurious indications on your pilot station radar.
I thought both things were happening at once.
It's
I
going
was like, holy crap.
missiles, and like everyone, and then it'll cancel it, and then it'll appear, and like it's just showing different things. But it looks like something is hurtling towards the ship.
Take evasive action, for God's sake.
Make a pilot check, 8+ on a pilot check.
Aha.
All right, I have a 10 dex if that's important.
Yeah, let's lower. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's make it a 7+. Nice. All right. So you're able to start an evasive action, and you actually can see visually outside the kind of the starboard side panels. You can see rocks just tossed past you. It probably looks pretty far away, but it is not at the speed it's going and the speed you're going. But you're able to peel away from it and then maybe move back, so you kind of like go this way and then you don't go back, you go down or something like that. You juke, and so that something tosses, something else tosses. You don't hear any other missile warnings, oral warnings. Shut off the alarm again. This alarm's doing its work today. Okay.
How's my buddy over at the starport?
You don't hear anything except eventually, so several minutes pass, you're starting to fly towards the starport. And you're right, it's moving pretty fast. You know, the starport's probably 100 kilometers away or something. A few minutes pass, so you're only a few minutes out. And then a voice comes on a voice comes across, but it's not across the kind of high quality radio, this non-line line of sight thing, whether it's, I don't know, whatever it uses. Instead, it is something primitive. It's a AM band or what's the other one? Like an AM band.
Like
something.
a CB?
Yeah, something like that. You can hear like interference and static and stuff, and you hear a voice. It's a familiar one, and it says, "High and dry. This is Greener. Do you hear me?"
We hear you. We have bad news.
You must have worse news than me. I'm receiving reports that locals are seeing the eruption of Mount Salbarii.
No, that's our news.
You look outside the port, by the way, Jason, as you're coming in, and you're probably setting up for an approach because it's only minutes out to get landed right on to the starport. and behind you, you can see the volcano. Now the atmosphere up to 30,000 feet is just covered in dark, and it's starting to turn night outside.
I tell him, though, actually, I guess our news is worse. In a few minutes here, I'll have the results, but there's a plug in that thing that's going to blow. It's going to blow the top of the mountain off. I'm just trying to decide. I'm trying to figure out which direction it's going to blow. Maybe it won't go straight towards the town, but you might need to start evacuating people.
If you have a ship available that has weapons, you might be able to unplug it.
Yes. That too. You might want to get in contact with the starport, see what they can do. I mean, it's all hands on deck. It's going to happen in less than an hour.
We appreciate it, High and Dry. That's exactly why I was calling you. It does look like it's going to blow. We need to know what direction it's going to blow in order to direct the evacuation. We need those scans. Out of character, that comes at a cost, and you can choose what to do. You don't have to be the hero. Doing those scans means doing an orbit of that mountain and going back into that atmosphere.
I think we do have to be. No, we can't leave. The starport's in the city. The jump drive barely works. It doesn't work.
I should clarify. You could go land in a wild place and take several weeks, and you think you could probably fix the fuel processors.
What kind of a reputation? No way in the hell. Okay. I'm sorry. I hope everybody. You if you disagree, you picked the wrong night,
guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm on board.
Hey, exactly. Freelancer or not.
Here's. Okay. Listen, boss. That guy at the air car repair shop might be better at fixing things than we are. If we pick him up, maybe he can keep the electrical system going long enough for us to make this pass.
Would we have time for that?
No.
You're the boss.
By the time, by the time you initiated an approach, landed, opened, got someone on board, took another takeoff, and even that would be the highest risk thing you could do right now is take off and land, like as far as stressing a system or the drive. Flying is the least dangerous thing you could do, interestingly.
Okay, well, let's go to it.
You can do that, and if the volcano doesn't blow towards Walston Starport, then you would not be in danger,
Okay, well, yep. Let's just go do our thing.
Right on.
Okay.
Aye, Captain.
I turn the ship around.
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
You turn the ship straight into dark clouds, volcanic clouds, and let's see. You hear on those low kind of AM broadcasts. You hear a general broadcast. This is Dictator Masterson. Please remain calm. Everything is under control. Evacuate to the nearest city as soon as you can. Evacuate in an orderly fashion. Like this crap goes on, After several minutes, you're flying back towards the volcano, and you get some common sensors and some trimmers, and so you're starting to orbit the volcano to try to get this sensor sweep done. And then all of a sudden, after about 5 minutes of orbiting, there's all kinds of whenever you get a comm that comes into the scout, the courier, you can even if it's something that's primitive, you can choose if you want it access to a channel, and if you want it, or you could deny it and ignore it, right? So you have all these requests coming in on frequencies that are querying you, and there's like 15 of them from all over, like 200 kilometer area. All sorts of people like making requests to talk to you.
I mean, I assume they're all begging for help. Yeah, I mean, we'll check a couple.
You open one and it's like,
Yeah.
hello, anyone. This is let me see here. This is Throlton. This is Throlton Weather Station. We're calling to report that we think that Mount Salbarii might be blowing. Hello, do you read me? And it's, and it's hard.
Okay, so I'll just respond perfunctorily to all of them with basically a form letter.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the high and dry. We are monitoring the explosion. We recommend you follow Dictator Masterton's command and evacuate to the closest city. Thank you. And then just put that message on repeat to each, basically across whatever bandwidths are sending out these things.
All right. Okay. Yeah, you can do that. You create a packet. You make a general broadcast that just responds to every query that's coming in, and it's just giving that standard response. You're about 4 minutes out from your updated readings when you hear, if you have it on a passive receive mode to be able to hear Director Green. Actually, I should ask, do you want that, or do you want to close it off where they can't talk to you?
I can't imagine why we'd want to close it up.
I don't want to,
Oh, no. Yeah, open door policy as far as voice comms, as far as any voice comms, and unless it's a cacophony, yeah.
Okay, so that one frequency that you were hearing things come across, you hear this bleed come across. Again, you hear the voice, but it's frantic, and you hear heavy breathing, and you hear noise in the background from the frequency, and you think it's happening in a grav car that's impacting terrain and bumping through something, like someone riding over terrain, and you hear this is Dictator Masterson. Evacuate to the nearest settlement immediately. Evacuate immediately with all speed, and this urgency picks up. And you hear that about 4 minutes before your sensors complete their checks.
Oh boy.
Okay, let's see. 4 minutes pass, and your readings are available. It is there's good news and bad news. There's good news, bad news, and more bad news. So let's start with the good news. The good news is the sensors have updated the readings, and they have precision. They know when it's going to happen and where it's going to happen. You identify, I wish I'd put the map on here, but the pyroclastic flow of the volcano. You chose to do this, so you get the benefit of the information. This is kind of where you went up, was on the land side of it. The pyroclastic flow and the explosion is going to occur on its southwest side, toward the coast. And the whole mountain's going to blow, and everything from the mountain to the coast is going to be just smothered in,
Yeah,
molten
so we
lava and destroyed.
immediately send that information to Director Green.
And then you hear this again. And then
Missiles.
you hear a female voice. Missiles. Missiles. Missiles.
Jeez.
All right. Do your thing, Jason. But yeah, I send that info. Queue it up. Nice.
And these rocks, they miss you again as you dive out of the way of the rocks. I'm going to make a new check to see if there are any drive system fails. There are not, so they keep operating correctly. These things, they fly past you as you narrowly avoid them. And meanwhile, you send that information, and Director Green says, "Oh, thank you, High and Dry. This is going to save a lot of lives. We're going to start evacuating. That's the town of Barvin. There are a lot of people there, but we have a lot of fishing mini-subs. We're going to send every mini-sub in the area and evacuate Barvin immediately, and we'll use the train. We should be able to get them all out. thank you so much.
Our pleasure. We're just doing our part. Heading back to the space dock now.
Okay, so you start turning back toward the starport.
Yeah.
And let's see, you make it about halfway. It's 5 minutes of flight, and you get an updated reading. Your readings were correct. You hear new traffic, which is the mini-subs, coordinating their operation near Barvin. When you hear a broadcast from a... wait a second. At this point. And that. Ah, okay. So you get a request, a call from it's the frequency Director Green was on, which you said you left open, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yes.
High and dry. This is Dictator Masterson. Come in.
This is high and dry. Go ahead.
I am the Lord and Master of this planet. I appreciate your help here today. You've saved a lot of lives, but we need some more help.
I look at the rest of the crew and put my head in my hands
I knew this was coming.
and wait for him to continue. Yes, my lord.
I ordered everyone to head to Barvin, or to the nearest settlement to evacuate. Unfortunately, the outlying farms east of Barvin are now going directly in the direction of the pyroclastic flow. There's a group of about 11 of my citizens, a group of farmers, and they're heading directly in. We don't have contact with them. They're on the south side of the mountain. We need you to do an emergency pickup and get them off and out of there before the volcano blows, if you can.
Understood. High and dry out.
You guys are going to try to do it?
What does that mean exactly? Understood. Are we going to do this or not?
We're doing it.
Okay.
Doing it?
As soon as I hear that, I turn towards.
All right. I'll kind of, just in case, I'm doing a lot
I wanted to, out of character, wait until everybody agreed before I made a group decision, but I was assuming the group decision was going to be to save the day.
We've already risked our lives once. Why not again?
Here's your concept of operation here. So, you've got the volcano, it's going to blow to the southwest, and these people are currently moving directly in the direction of it. You're going to try to intercept them, stop them, land in the dirt, get them on board, and get out of there before it blows. That's the idea anyways. Okay, so let's see here. We are at T-minus 14 minutes from when your system suggests that's going to happen. Let's turn off the ship's alarm. We don't have missiles anymore. And T-minus 14. And then you hear the following broadcast on on Dictator Masterson's frequency that he was using. Let's see. He said it says. You hear a struggle, and it's like, no, I'm going after mom and dad, no, and then and you hear that on the frequency that you've left open. You hear that, and the gas clouds have now reached 50,000 feet above ground level Earth atmosphere, probably 30,000 feet above ground level for you. And yeah, so let's see. You start
So yeah, we need to be near.
Trying to find.
There's two. Okay, these people, are they driving vehicles?
Yeah, they have like farm trucks, like ground cars. There you all are. Had you on a different
Okay.
page.
In that case, we can take them right on board in the air raft garage. We don't need to. We can take some on through the airlock and some through the air raft garage, and we should have one of us stationed at each point to just be there waving at them as soon as we land, like as we're landing. Do we have a loudspeaker? Is there any method of communicating from inside to outside the ship?
I'll say that you can attempt to improvise that. And I don't know how, but I'll just say you can do it. We'll figure that out later. That
Well,
will
hold
be-
on. Well, do those trucks have CB radios? Or they said they couldn't get in contact with
Yeah,
them.
no. They had that where they were, and then they started evacuating. They don't have it now.
Okay,
That was at
got
a
it.
ground station. So I'll say that you could improvise that on an 8+ check. Meanwhile, so here you all are. You're flying back around and making it to this LZ that's out in the open. And it is starting to get crazy out here. And it just looks like what I would describe as a fire tornado thunderstorm, with lightning streaking through the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is choked with volcanic dust that's floating around, and bright orange lit clouds and everything. And you start to dive down, Jason, down to the ground amidst all of this stuff to identify the LZ. So you're going to need to make, you have a high dex, so let's do an 8+. It would be a hard check, but an 8+ for you with the dex and pilot 1. You make
Yes.
it, barely. So you do this like you barrel toward the ground, and finally the clouds clear and you see the ground coming up. You see the vehicles coming, and you do this assault landing where you just bring it vertically and bring it to full power, and you guys are kicked back into your seats as this thing like kind of rides the ground. You probably get a quick terrain warning, warning terrain, and like it just like stops like vertically, and then you bring it down, opening up whatever gear it has sideways to where they'll be, right on to where they could enter where the air raft entrance is. Probably putting a lot of stress on the ship where it would usually land, but you need that right now. Meanwhile, you're trying to improvise a loudspeaker.
I failed. I rolled a 7.
You end up doing it inside the ship, which was what you were. That was what you were trying to improvise. Is you were trying to open up something and get the ship intercom to blast at high volume outside the ship, and you end up just and it like hurts everybody's ears, and you're like, attention, and then you just stop because you realize it's like blowing everybody's ears out.
Hopefully, these people seeing the world outside realize that we're their only chance, and they make a run for it.
Yeah. I was just hoping to get them going in the exact right direction early, but it is what it is. So, all right. So yeah, stand by the doors. Let's open them up like as we're landing, so like we can land. It's just like come here.
Yeah, T-8 minutes until the eruption, and you hear another broadcast or another thing from Dictator Masterson, and he's kind of out of breath, and he says, "Listen, high and dry. You've saved a lot of lives today. Don't go after that car. She took my grav car. She's going towards the town. Don't try it. Just let them go. You need to try to get these people out alive."
Acknowledged. Yeah, so let's get those doors open, and guys, let's say it'll be both Jackson at one door and daggone it, Shipley at the other door.
Can do.
And they should be able to see that the garage is a garage-sized thing, right? So they can just drive their car, their trucks. If they have, maybe they can just all pile into one truck and just get it on, or whatever is quickest.
The voice you recognize, it is, what is her name? She's the person that drove you up here.
The Varger chick?
Mm-hmm. It's, Lothak is the Varger that drove you up to the mountain. So, anyways, the rest of Vargr, though, they get on board. You wave them on. You get the ship closed where the entrance for the air raft would be, and yeah, and it's now T-6 until the explosion.
How far away are we from Lothak?
You are about between 2 and 4 minutes out, depending on how the pilot check goes.
I'll leave that one up to the pilot. What do you think? 1/3 times the charm, or get out while we're ahead?
Do we have her family right now? Just tell her to turn around.
You do not. These are
No, her family are the storekeepers, right?
no, the storekeeper is the cousin of Lothak, and they all have family in Braven. So I think that probably that she's going to make it via the grav car, but you're pretty certain that grav car and everybody in it's going to get destroyed by this explosion. Grav car is not fast enough.
So this one I put up to a vote for sure.
All right.
My vote is try it.
Try what? Try
Try rescuing them.
I agree. I that's my vote as well.
Okay.
No guts, no glory.
Okay. That does it. Okay. In that case, jettison this truck out the air raft.
I just want you to know that I flipped a coin twice, and both coin flips came up and don't save her.
That you got outvoted. I'm sure that's fine, and that's not telling us anything.
So let's jettison this truck immediately,
Yeah.
and get ready to receive the air raft.
All right. And one of the problems is this ship is not made for 11 Vargr. But you can make them go to the staterooms and strap themselves in there. Some people are not going to be strapped in; they're just going to have to hang on. But you have maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes at best.
Yeah, let's get on the move on. And also, what about the air raft? No, you said grav car, not an air raft. It's a grav car, right?
It
Same
says,
thing.
yeah.
Oh, is it an air raft?
It says it's a. I mean, whatever.
Okay. Does it have a communicator?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's dial her up if we can.
She's sending out plaintive signals even as it's even as it's happening. She's like, "Mayday, Mayday! This is Walston 1. The drive's failing on the car. The window's cracked. Something hit us. I can't see. I can't see."
Yeah. Walston 1. This is high and dry. We're coming to your location. Stand by.
Okay. Meanwhile, I assume, Jason, you're gonna balls to the wall and try to get it there.
Guess so.
Okay, you do that, and yeah, was that your
Nice.
pilot roll? Was that your pilot
That was
roll?
beautiful. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
my pilot. I had it queued up,
Yeah.
and then when I pressed the space bar to answer you, it made the roll for some reason.
Nice. All right, you throw the throttle, and you just stay close to the dirt. You kind of skim the dirt a while, back and forth with gray out hitting, or brown, brown vortices just kicking both sides. You're kind of going back and forth nap of the earth because you're just about to do the same maneuver, and you do that. You hit this assault kind of landing where you almost do like a what's it called? Flip, turn and burn. You flip to go the other way, and that brings it down onto its side. You probably scrape the ship, and you can hear the stress on the ship. Meanwhile, the Vargr on board are going to do something. Let's see here. But you do come in for a landing, and you can open the air raft bay. Some of the Vargr just hit things and pass out. It knocks them out. You can see them go flying on the inside. And I don't know why that's funny. It is funny. Anyways,
Funny.
you open the air raft bay, and they see this, and she's carrying her wounded parents into the air raft bay. And let's see, that brings you to, because you passed the check, which is huge. I think the other group didn't. And that brings us to T-2. So here you are at T-2.
Punch it.
You punch it, take off again, you start heading up, and you can see that now there's this shockwave. And then like the entire mountainside just like lifts up, and the whole atmosphere is filled, and this stuff's just billowing towards you. At T-2, you've got two options. The other group had no options. You were able to pass the check and get to this point. T-2. This is going to hit you. You do not have enough time left to outrun it or get above it. So the two options are go directly into it, which sounds crazy, but that's aerodynamic. So you have a better chance of actually flying into it than you do trying to fly away from it and then it knocking you out, right? So that's one option. The other option is to actually dive into the lake nearby and submerge yourself.
Yeah. Let's go with option 2, I think, and let's get as deep as we can.
Yeah, and traveler ships can do that nominally. They can operate in water.
It's one of the ways that you scoop fuel.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. The town of Barvin is utterly engulfed and destroyed, but everybody is evacuated. You don't have the ship plummeting effect, but you are going to impact the water. You all are... The aerodynamically oriented is not a factor. Everyone is strapped in except for several of the Vargur. I'm going to make a... let's see. This will be an endurance check. 2d6 to get under your endurance. And then I'm going to roll for the Vargur. Okay, so a bunch of Vargur are knocked out, thrown against the walls. Nobody's killed. Let me know if anybody fails.
I have not failed.
And
I have succeeded.
everybody's succeeded so far?
Yep.
3.
Ooh.
You hear actually even one of the Vargur break their arm bone against one of the exposed paneling things that flies out. And
Jeez.
but everybody's alive. This is not designed for passengers, like having a bunch of people just flying around in a volcano storm.
Yeah.
Anybody fail? Let me try Shipley, actually.
Marcello?
I rolled an 11.
Is that under your endurance?
Oh, probably not. No, I
Oh.
failed.
Oh, crap. Okay. And endurance 8. She passes. Yeah, she passes. You are going to slam your head against a nearby panel for 5 points of damage. And I'm going to roll to see which stat it affects. So let's see. That's going to be the last stat, which is your endurance. Is your endurance greater than 5?
Is.
Excellent. So you can subtract 5 endurance temporarily, but you do not get knocked unconscious. But you can hear ringing in your ears as you slam against the panel, and the ships get knocked and it dives into the water. And let's see here. I think you guys did so well. The other group did not do so well. You don't have any ship failures. And the ship is not disabled. All you have to do, the last thing is you start going under the water, and the pyroclastic flow, you can actually, you probably can't see this, but it actually just engulfs, dozens of feet below the water, but above you as you go down into the water to get deep. and you survive, and you save the lives of over a dozen citizens, and of course, hundreds of others. Let's see here.
Well, in a day's work.
Anybody would have done the same thing.
Yeah, that's safe to say.
Okay. You probably eventually you can get you probably can't receive the low AM band frequency, and they're not going to be able to get to the starport to do this. So you just have to spend some time there. You could scoop fuel if you're waiting.
No.
You're gonna wait.
No, remember you told us the fuel
that's
cells
right, the
aren't
fuel
they're not working
processors.
right. It won't help us to scoop this fuel.
Yeah, I would suggest you could scoop it in the baffle, but you can't process it. So then you just
Okay,
have a
but I
bunch
mean,
of water on board.
If the starport's still operational and all, that's
Indeed.
fine. But if not,
Let's
well,
wait
anyway.
until we fully worked on the ship before we
Sure.
screw around with any of that.
well, we
Right.
have to as soon as possible. We need to break water again and come out on the other side or something, like away from once the worst of the debris has stopped falling. We should just keep a constant sensor look at that. But
You're able to do that, and you're able to emerge, and their ship's working. I don't have any malfunctions. I'm like surprised because you
Okay,
see
so
what
am I,
happened to the other group.
frankly.
Yeah. The other group, it's interesting. We'll see what happens. But anyways, because they don't know if they're gonna live yet, and I don't either. But anyways, you take back to the air, Jason, and you start flying up, and you go away from both the pyroclastic flow, but also the volcanic ash. You probably have to do a long orbit. In fact, this is probably like a cruise flight in the atmosphere for maybe an hour. But as soon as because you get away from all this stuff, and as soon as you get back in the atmosphere, you get a call back on that frequency from Director Green, and he's like, "Hydra, you did it! You saved him! Wow! Make it back to the starport, Hydra. You've earned a place to stay here. Everything's on us."
You heard the man.
Thank you, Director, or Director Masterson.
Yeah, this is Director Green, actually, that says this. And then as you're flying, eventually Dictator Masterson comes on that frequency. You can kind of hear it bleed across a bunch of frequencies. And he's like, "Citizens of Walston, this is Dictator Masterson. Everything is under control. Our evacuation plans were effective, and all citizens were evacuated in an orderly fashion. We'll ensure everyone is compensated, and we'll have everybody returned to Crystal Lake City and return to normal operations by tomorrow. Thank you so much." It's like, this kind of like, he takes credit for it, anyways. Like, managed to save everybody. So, anyways,
As a dictator should.
yeah, and you do this big loop, and you come around and land at the starport, and as soon as you make it out of the starport with these Vargur, the Vargur have a sense like everybody's related to everybody, so they don't care about that BS, and it's a typical instant just parade on the street in Startown, Walston, as the Vargur that are there, and your colleague, your contact in the Air Raft Repair Center comes out, and they have their masks on and everything, but they all hug the surviving Vargur, and in a classic fashion lift you all up into the air, whether you like it or not, as you have essentially saved a whole portion of the population of Walston, the little backwater world.
Well, that's useful.
Yeah, and that's actually where we'll end the adventure for tonight.